Good day, viewers and listeners. It's another wonderful day in this beautiful city of Tagum. Welcome once again to Salida TeleRadyo of La Filipina National High School. I'm your teacher host, Ma'am Janet Bacalya. Today, you will learn about heat transfer, an interesting lesson in Science 9. So now, let's give the floor to our teacher broadcaster, Ma'am Rhea Lynn Nobleza.
Thank you, Ma'am Janet. Hello, students. Hello, viewers in La Filipina National High School official Facebook page and listeners in our partner radio station, 98.3 Gold FM, ang radyo astig ng Tagum City. Kuya Wano, welcome once again here at Salida TeleRadyo. I am Ma'am Rhea Lynn Nobleza, your teacher broadcaster for today. Now, students, please get your paper and pen for we will start our adventure in Grade 9 Science, Quarter 4, Module 6. With the topic, Heat Transfer and Energy Transformation Make Heat Engine Works. Before we proceed, let us know first our lesson objectives. Number 1. Distinguish the process as spontaneous or non-spontaneous process. Number 2, explain how heat transfer and energy transformation make heat engines work, which is also our most essential learning competency. And lastly, illustrate how heat pumps on refrigerator and air conditioner work. Now, students, are you now all ready? Please get your paper and pen for we will start our activity. Our first activity is entitled Hot or Cold. You are going to identify what is the temperature of the following statement. Write hot if the temperature is high and cold if the temperature is low. You will be given 5 seconds to answer each item. Take note. Please answer it honestly. Okay? Let's start. Number 1, a cup of a chocolate drink. Number 1, a cup of a chocolate drink. Is it hot or cold? Your 5 seconds starts now. Time's up. The correct answer is hot. Let's proceed to number 2. A cone of an ice cream. A cone of an ice cream. Is it hot or cold? Your 5 seconds starts now. Time's up. The correct answer is cold. Number 3. Ice cubes. Number 3. Ice cubes. Is it hot or cold? Your 5 seconds starts now. Time's up. The correct answer is cold. For item number 4, boiling water. Number 4, boiling water. Is it hot or cold? Your 5 seconds starts now. Time's up. The correct answer is hot. For lastly, number 5, ironing your clothes. Number 5, ironing your clothes. Is it hot or cold? Your 5 seconds starts now. Time's up. The correct answer is hot. How was your score? Did you get all the items correctly? Great! I know that you can now clearly distinguish objects that are hot or cold. From an early age, our parents always taught us not to touch hot stove or init na kaldero kay mapasok ta. and also to wear a coat or a jacket when it's cold outside. Indeed, those are starting points that help us to know the differences of temperature of the object. In your previous lesson, you have learned about heat and temperature. An object with high temperature is said to be hot, and the word hot brings the word heat. The word heat is used only when referring to the energy actually in transit from hot or high temperature to cold or lower temperature. In this case, heat flows from hotter object to a colder object when the two objects are placed in contact. The property of the system that is used to quantitatively describe this natural event is what we call entropy. Now, observe this illustration. It is for the reason that a pot of a chocolate drink feels hot to touch, while the scoop of an ice cream feels cold. The temperature of hot chocolate is higher than the normal body temperature, which is 37 degrees Celsius, and the ice cream is lower than 37 degrees Celsius. The response of the nerves in the hand to the arrival or the departure of heat prompts the brain to identify the cup of chocolate drink as being hot and the cone of ice cream as being cold. But how can we do the reverse? Instead from hot to cold, we will have cold to hot. To understand better about this process, you are going to do the next activity entitled, Where Do I Belong? In this activity, you are aimed to distinguish the process as spontaneous, SPONTANEOUS, or non-spontaneous, NonSpontaneous process by completing the table. For those viewers, you can follow the table on screen, and for those listeners, follow my direction carefully. You are going to make table consists of 2 columns and 3 rows. In the first column, write spontaneous process, and the second column, write non-spontaneous process. You are going to identify the following as spontaneous or non-spontaneous process. Write it on the table. You are given 5 seconds to answer. Let's advocate time consciousness. Let's start. Number 1, drying of leaves. Number 1, drying of leaves. Where do it belongs? Your 5 seconds starts now. Time's up. The correct answer is spontaneous process. Number 2, rice cooking. Number 2, rice cooking. Where do it belongs? Your 5 seconds starts now. Time's up. The correct answer is non-spontaneous process. Number 3, waterfalls. Number 3, waterfalls. Where do it belongs? Your 5 seconds starts now. Time's up. The correct answer is spontaneous process. Number 4, spoilage of food. Where do it belongs? Your 5 seconds starts now. Time's up. The correct answer is spontaneous process. Number 5, breakage of egg. Where do it belongs? Your 5 seconds starts now. Time's up. The correct answer is non-spontaneous process. How was your score? Did you get all the items correctly? Do not worry because at the end of the lesson, you will understand it better. In that activity, you have learned that there are certain processes present in immediate environment. Now, let's have the definition of spontaneous process and non-spontaneous process. What are those? Spontaneous process is a process when heat flows normally from higher temperature to lower temperature. It does not require any external energy to occur. How about non-spontaneous process? Non-spontaneous process is a process when heat flows from lower temperature to higher temperature. It does require external energy, and this energy is what we call mechanical energy. Before we proceed, let's have a recall on what is mechanical energy all about. We know that mechanical energy is the energy that is possessed by an object due to its motion or due to its position. Mechanical energy can be either kinetic energy or energy in motion or potential energy or stored energy of position. These are some examples of mechanical energy: riding a bicycle, driving a pulley truck, hammering a nail, and many more. Remember, heat flows on spontaneous process is from higher to lower temperature, and it does not require energy, while heat flows on non-spontaneous process is from lower to higher temperature, and it does require mechanical energy to be done. Now that we understand that every non-spontaneous process needs work or mechanical energy in able to make it happen, it is about time for us to find out how heat pumps function. Second law of thermodynamics states that heat will never itself flow from a cold temperature to hot temperature or high temperature of object. In order to reverse this, we need motor of the heat pump. What is the function of the heat pump? Naturally, heat flows from higher to lower temperature. We use heat pump to reverse this process. Heat pump is a device that allows heat transfer from a cold reservoir to a warmer one, which cannot happen spontaneously. This time, work is required for the heat to flow from lower to higher temperature. Let us find out how this process works on machine that we are mostly familiar with. Are you familiar with refrigerator? How about air conditioner? This machine makes us more convenient in many ways. The fundamental reason for having a refrigerator or ref is to keep food cold because cold temperature help food stay fresh longer. The basic idea behind refrigeration is to slow down the activity of bacteria, which all food contains, so that it takes longer for the bacteria to spoil the food. While air conditioner or aircon is a system that is used to cool down a space by removing heat from the space and removing it to some outside area. How does refrigerator and air conditioner works? Let's start with the refrigerator. We have here two illustrations. The first illustration is labeled parts of the components of refrigerator, and the second one is the refrigeration cycle. The refrigeration cycle contains four major components: the compressor, condenser, expansion device or expansion valve, and evaporator. Refrigerant remains piped between those four components and is contained in the refrigerant loop. The refrigerant begins as a cool vapor and heads to the first component, which is the compressor. To understand it better, we will have here the illustration. Again, refrigeration cycle composed of four major components. We have compressor, condenser, expansion valve, and evaporator. To understand it, we will have to divide it vertically and horizontally. Vertically or y-axis, we have here the left side is labeled as low pressure, the right side, the high pressure. And if we divide it in horizontally, the upper part is labeled as vapor and the lower part is liquid. The first cycle starts with the compressor. Low pressure, low temperature, vapor refrigerant will enter the compressor, which will discharge high pressure, high temperature, vapor refrigerant. This one will enter to the condenser, will have a result, high pressure, low temperature, liquid refrigerant, and this expansion valve, it will resort to low pressure, low temperature, liquid refrigerant. Now, this one will enter the evaporator, will have low pressure, low temperature, vapor refrigerant. Now, mangutana mo, asa man diri ang icing nga part sa atong ref? When the low pressure and low temperature liquid refrigerant will enter evaporator, mo na siya ang icing na part sa atong ref. How about air conditioner? Aircon or air conditioner is a system that is used to cool down a space by removing heat from the space and moving it to some outside area. Here are major components of air conditioner. We have compressor, condenser and the fan, the dryer, expansion valve, and evaporator and the blower. Now the process has two connected coil that is being separated from inside and outside. Now, the coil inside the room is what we call the evaporator, and the coil outside the room is what we call the condenser. The fundamental principle of air conditioner is simple. Just keep the evaporator cold, more specifically colder than room temperature, and keep the condenser hot, specifically hotter than the surroundings. With these conditions, the continuously flowing fluid will obviously absorb the heat from the room and ejected out to the surrounding. Two more important components are needed inside the air conditioner: the compressor and the expansion valve. The compressor increases the pressure and reverses the heat temperature and helps to eject the heat. By the use of fan in the condenser unit, it makes this task easier. The expansion valve also is fitted at the end of the condenser. The purpose of expansion valve is to restrict the refrigerant flow, thus reducing the pressure of the fluid. Thermostatic expansion valve is the one that maintains that all liquid will be converted into vapor. Bakit? Kasi when the evaporator will release vapor, at saka kung maabot na siya sa condenser, mo na siya nga masunog ang inyong condenser or maguba ang inyong aircon. Did you know that inverter technology helps to control the motor speed accurately? Yes, it is used for better temperature control, and it does not only control the compressor speed but also the flow rate, cooling capacity, and room temperature. Now that you have understand or learned the importance of heat pump in reversing the heat flow, let's have some recap on what we have learned. Heat flows normally from higher temperature to lower temperature, which is spontaneous process. It does not require any external energy to occur. Non-spontaneous process is the process happens when heat flows from lower temperature to higher temperature. It needs mechanical energy to occur. A heat pump is a device that reverses the direction of the heat flow from a cold reservoir to a warmer one. An example of this one is refrigerator and air conditioning unit. Now, we will have another activity. This is a multiple choice type of test. Write only the letter of your answer. You will be given 5 seconds to answer, and please answer it honestly. Number 1. A heat pump is blank. Number 1. A heat pump is blank. A. Extract energy at low temperature heat source. B. Gives energy to high temperature heat source. C. Both A and B. Or D. None of the mentioned. Your 5 seconds starts now. Time's up. The correct answer is both A and B. Number 2. Given the following mechanisms, which best describe correct sequence of the refrigeration cycle? 1. Compression. 2. Evaporation. 3. Valve expansion. And 4. Condensation. A. 1, 2, 3, 4. B. 2, 3, 4, 1. C. 1, 4, 3, 2. Or D. 2, 3, 1, 4. Your 5 seconds starts now. Time's up. The correct answer is letter C. 1, 4, 3, 2. Number 3. It is common observation that naturally occurring processes have a particular direction associated with them. For instance, heat flows from hot body to a colder body. The property of the system that is used to quantitatively describe this natural direction of events is called blank. A. Energy. B. Entropy. C. Enthalpy. Or D. Equilibrium. Your 5 seconds starts now. The correct answer is B. Entropy. Question number 4. How can air conditioning unit function as heater during cold days and cooler during hot days? 1. It cools the inside of the house and heats the outside. 2. It takes heat from air outside to warm the inside. Letter A. 1 only. B. 2 only. C. 1 and 2. D. None of them. Your 5 seconds starts now. Time's up. The correct answer is 1 and 2. Question number 5. How does water from the deep well move upward? A. It occurs naturally. B. It uses water heat pump. C. It is a spontaneous process. Or D. It flows from higher temperature to cooler temperature. Your 5 seconds starts now. Time's up. The correct answer is letter B. It uses water heat pump. Good job, students! I know you got it perfectly. For additional work, your assignment will be research on a heat engine and draw the 4-cycle stroke of a gasoline engine on a long bond paper. Label it properly. You may pass it through your grade 9 science teacher. That will be all for today. Thank you so much, viewers and listeners, for tuning in. Once again, this is Teacher Raya Lino Blasa. Will leave you a message from Anonymous. When the weather is hot, keep a cool mind. When the weather is cold, keep a warm heart. Bye-bye!
Thank you so much, Ma'am Rhea Lynn Nobleza. Thank you also to our viewers and listeners for tuning in. I hope you will learn so many things today. Once again, this has been your teacher host, Ma'am Janet Bacalia, saying, "Heat is in proportion to the want of true knowledge."